Hey, and we're back. We're doing through Unit 2 assessment, our test corrections. We're on number 8. That's where we're going to start. The length of a rectangle is 5 inches less than twice its width. If the rectangle has a perimeter of 80 inches, find the length and width. All right, let's check it out. First of all, they talk a lot about the length, but they really don't talk that much about the width. And when we don't know what something is in math, we represent it with a variable. So we're going to make x our width. Now let's decode that first sentence. The length of the rectangle is 5 inches less than. So I'm going to have to take 5 from something. Twice the width. In order to make that twice, I'm going to have to multiply x by 2. So there's twice the width minus 5, and that's going to represent our length. They give us the formula for perimeter. So now all we need to do is plug in the numbers that we know. For example, they told us that our perimeter is 80 inches. Perimeter's there. Let's substitute in 80. That 2's already in there. We'll have to substitute something for L. And this 2's already in there. We'll have to substitute something in for W. We know that the L, the length, is represented by this expression, 2x minus 5. So I'm going to put that right in here. The width is right here. It's just the x. All right, we've got something set up now. Let's see if we can solve it. Let's distribute that 2 first, giving us 4x minus 10. 2 times x is 2x. I'm going to bring down my 80. I'm going to combine like terms. 4 and 2 give me 6x, and then I'm going to drop down my negative 10. We're going to need to add 10 to both sides. So now 90 equals 6x. And we divide by 6. Let's see what we get. X equals 15. So that's going to be my width. Then I need to figure out how to solve for my length. So I know what the x is. I'm going to substitute it back in. So instead of my x, I'm going to put that 15 in there. And minus 5. This is for the length. So 2 times 15 is 30. 30 minus 5 is 25. In this problem, they say it's in inches. So the width is 15 inches. The length is 25 inches. For number 9, a couple people struggled with this, and my best recommendation would always be to rewrite the problem to the left and solve it yourself, then look for the mistake. So that's what I'll do. So if I solve this problem, the first thing I notice is that this is a negative 2, so I need to distribute a negative. I'm going to drop down my 6x. Negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 5 gives me a positive 10, equals 22. Next, I combine like terms. 6 minus 2 would give me 4x, and I'm going to drop down my plus 10 equals 22. Now before we move any further, let's check to see if what we did is different than what they have. Okay, they distributed, they got negative 2x. Okay, wait a minute. I thought that a negative times a negative was a positive. That's where they went wrong. This should be a positive 10. In order to prove that, all you have to do is show this work. Let's look at number 10. Hopefully we can see some of the answers here. I might have to bring this down a little bit. Make sure we can see all this in the picture. All right, excellent. So for number 10, they're asking us to see which graph represents the solution. And in order to figure out the solution, I need to solve this. So I see this negative right out front. I need to distribute this -1 to everything inside my parentheses. But first I'm going to drop this positive 2. -1 times 2x gives me -2x. -1 times -4 gives me a +4. Then I'm going to bring down everything else. I'm going to clean it up because I have some like terms on the same side of the inequality symbol. So this 2 and this +4 give me a +6. Alright, next thing is I'm going to have to get rid of this 6. So I should subtract it on both sides. My last step will be divide by a negative. And when I divide by a negative, I have to flip the sign. Of course. Flip your sign. That flips, and -10 divided by -2 gives me a +5. This clearly tells me that I need an open circle, and then it's going to be shaded to the left because it's less than. So open circle at 5, right here, shaded to the left. A is the correct answer. For number 11, we have to see that interval notation in order to determine which one it is. So for number 11, I'm kind of cutting it off here. I didn't realize that. Make this a tiny bit smaller. We'll have to write that and then look at our interval notation. And they're looking for the interval notation here, so I'll slide it over so that we can reference it once we solve. All right. So as I see here, there's a +7 outside my parentheses, so I'm going to distribute that in. First, let me drop down my 4x. 7 times 3 is a +21x. Then I'm going to get a -21. Bring down your inequality sign. And everything else. All right, got some like terms here. +4x, +21x, give me a +25x. I'm going to bring down everything else. Next, I want to get my variables to the left of my inequality symbol. So I'm going to add 5x. And this goes away. I have 30x minus 21 is less than or equal to 9. Still trying to get this x by itself. I'm going to add 21. Giving me 30x is less than or equal to 30. And when I divide by 30, I know that any number divided by itself is 1. So x is less than or equal to 1. So in order to do the interval notation, it's very helpful if you think about the graph. Because I have less than or equal to, I know that's going to be a solid dot at 1. And then less than or equal to would be shaded this way. So if you start over here and you want to read your graph, I hit -infinity first, which means it's going forever in the negative direction. Whenever you have that, you use a parenthesis, comma. The only time you ever use brackets is when you get to a solid dot or filled-in circle. That one is a solid dot, which means I need a bracket. Going over here, I can see that letter C would be the correct answer. Let's take a look at number 12. Number 12 is a compound OR inequality. And a little hint about compound OR inequalities is they are shaded OR out. So, looking at the graphs, I can definitely eliminate 2 of these graphs. I know it's not going to be letter D, and I know it's not going to be letter B. because I need 4 compound inequalities, which means they need to go out. With 4 compound inequalities, you graph them completely separately. You also solve them completely separately. So try to get the x by itself. I need to add 9 to both sides. So I have 11x is greater than 22. When I divide by 11, x is greater than 2. So I should have an open dot at 2, shaded to the right. Open dot 2, shaded to the right. Open dot 2, shaded to the right. All right, it looks like I'm gonna have to solve the other one. Over here, I'm gonna add the 4 first to both sides. Negative 4x is greater than 12. Then when I divide by a negative 4, I must flip my sign. So now x is less than negative 3. This one has negative 3, it's less than. This one has negative 1, so I know that A is the correct answer. Let's continue. Again, feel free to start, pause, whatever you need to help you. You go at your own speed. All right, this is a compound and inequality, okay? See the variable in the middle? Your ultimate goal is to get that completely by itself in the middle. Let me zoom in a little bit just so I know that you guys can see this very clearly. That's a little bit better. All right, so we want to get the x completely by itself in the middle. So if I was given just this, I would know that I have to get rid of my negative 4 first, so I'm going to add it. But what I do to the middle, I have to do to both other sides, so the left and the right. Goes away in the middle. I'm going to drop down my 2x, I'm going to drop down both of my inequality symbols. Now negative 12 plus 4 gives me negative 8. Negative 4 plus 4 gives me 0. Still looking right in the middle there, my x is attached to a 2 by multiplication, so I need to divide by 2. I'm going to drop down my x, because that's the only thing left in the middle. Drop down both of my inequality symbols. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. 0 divided by 2 is 0. I have the negative 4, the correct inequality symbol, x by itself in the middle, correct inequality symbol of a 0. There's letter D. All right, 2 more. All right, let me read number 14 to you. But before I do that, I want to just set it up a little bit so we have some of these things. They're talking about the highest score and the lowest score on a bio test. So I'm going to say x equals the lowest score. We're going to have to decode what the highest score is. But then it also said that the lowest score and the highest score added together was 150. So that's just something that we want to remember. So let's read that first sentence and see if we can decode or translate how to write their words into an expression. The highest score on a biology test was 6 points less than twice the lowest score. All right, 6 points less than twice the lowest score. If I wanted twice this lowest score, I'd have to multiply it by 2. And then if it's 6 points less than, I know I'm going to have to be subtracting 6. So this is going to be the highest score. The next sentence said, when added together, the lowest and highest score was 150. So if I take the lowest score, x, and I add it to the highest score, which is 2x minus 6, that should equal 150. Well, let's find out. We're going to combine our like terms, giving us 3x minus 6 equals 150. We'll add 6 to both sides. Goes away there. 3x equals 156. And when I divide by 3, x is going to equal 50. Because 3 goes into 15 5 times, 3 goes into 6 twice. All right, that's the low score. But how do I figure out what the high score is? Well, I need to plug that back in to this expression. So 2 times my x, which is 52, minus 6. Well, 2 times 52 is 104. 104 minus 6 is 98. So the low score was value of x is not the solution to the compound inequality below? Let's look for these answers. Well, I'm not quite sure what the answers are here, but we're going to do this anyway. Again, this is a compound and inequality because my x is in the middle. So if I'm trying to get that x by itself, I'm going to add 2 to all sides. That's going to go away. I'll still have my 6x in the middle, drop down my inequality symbols. Negative 8 plus 2 gives me negative 6. 4 plus 2 gives me a positive 6. Now I'm going to divide by 6. And I get negative 1, bring down my inequality symbols. X is less than or equal to 1. So if you thought about a graph, I know that I'd have a solid dot at negative 1. I'd have a solid dot at positive 1. And I have shade in the middle. So negative 1 is a solution, 0 is a solution, 1 is a solution. 2 is not a solution, and negative 2 is not a solution. I am pretty sure that on your quiz, or your test, I think I have the questions here. Yes, so the answers were which is not the solution, but we see the solution set right here. Negative 1 is because of the solid dot. 0 is because it's in the shaded section. 1 is because of the solid dot. 2 is not. So your answer is D. 2. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I really hope this helped. And let us know if you have any more questions.